And when I set Jenny to work on a little bit of digging, she found the Google Doc that KP had originally put out. Jenny was able to retrieve the edit history, which includes notes from KP intended to guide Emmy in improving the statement. This level of involvement is not apparent in KP's video.
Can you just explain some of these edits in this document then? Like, what does the highlighted in purple mean?
I don't remember.
I'm showing you the original statement supplied by Emmy to KP, and I've highlighted the word implied. But if we scroll all the way down to her updated statement, and I cannot believe this, it's gone. This is direct evidence that KP and Courtney worked to tailor the victim's statement to make it more damaging.
This is such a mess. Good evening, everyone. This video tonight might be the most interesting when it comes to talking about I Love Kim Possible a lot, because after so much radio silence from her, she has finally chosen to pop out for an interview to explain herself. Okay, no, I'm sorry, I'm lying. She barely explained anything. The video I'll be reacting to today comes from the channel of Cope and Sieve, where they covered the 3-week-long research into the insane community behind this. Like the community, they gave so much attention to Black Griffin and how it played into the Saberspark allegations. Please check out this video when you have the time, because I have no idea how we got an interview with KP, considering how unhinged she is. But regardless, if we want to get the best understanding of where she was coming from, then we should hear her out and listen to her reasons. No? So the context for this first part, right, is Beckett, Cope and Sieve, the guy this video, talking to KP about the minor joke that really tilted her about the employee of Saberspark. You know how he joked about getting clothes from her and jacking off into it. Very disgusting joke, but if you know the context, she got really fucking pissed about it. And bro, even now, when she got confronted again by Beckett, she would not concede that, you know, she overreacted even a tiny bit.
Still be expected to face serious repercussions. We are talking about a
And by the way, I think the sections, you know, with KP being interviewed and I'll be watching spans from around 10 minutes around to the 54-minute mark. And there's one part also I'll watch in a second, or at the end, you know, in part 2, where fucking KP sounds really, really sad.
Single instant.
But, yeah, here's the context, you know, of her not being able to concede about, you know, her overreaction.
Over a decade ago, with seemingly no repeat behaviors. The idea someone should be fired over this is frankly absurd.
That's what she wanted, this fucking guy fired. Like, she literally went to Saberspark, was like, you need to fire him, he's foul, disgusting.
And so,
after, like, he already fucking, like, backed down on his knees like a dog and apologized profusely.
I went back to KP to ask her about it. Because I went
also
looking.
This is so funny, right? Like, listen to her voice and you'll realize, like, she sounds like half-baked. Like, initially I was like, you know, like, what the fuck is wrong with her? She sounds very bizarre. She sounds like nothing else before. But I think Becky literally said that she was, like, you know, half high during this first call, this first conversation.
Some of the Chris stuff, KP. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's very difficult with the Chris stuff, because what I've got your section of the video, which is a 2-minute cut. And that's a condensed version of the full call, which isn't noted as a condensed version in your video. And then I've listened to the full call, and Chris is highly apologetic, takes full accountability for his actions, explains to you that, you know, where he was at the time in the...
Wait, hold on. Is that actually true? Is that actually fucking true? I remember hearing it from Saberspark Response, but I had no idea that she had the full call fucking cut down to make him sound like, you know, an actual piece of shit.
The fact that he has sought therapy and to modify that behavior. He's not making excuses for it. He's literally just actually taking account. So I'm trying to understand why you felt it was necessary to make a video on him, or why he should be...
Can I say, shout out to the artist for this thumbnail, this segment, because they drew KP as being fucking violent to Saberspark, beating him for a bell. That's insane.
Fired for something.
It's really good artwork, to be honest.
That happened a decade ago, and he has apologized for.
I guess I just wanted a sense of accountability, if that makes sense. Like, I get your point, though.
She wanted accountability, but even after he apologized, you know, she still wanted to go after him.
It's very difficult, because what does accountability look like? I mean, again, he didn't he didn't
Well,
actually
that's
assault
what,
anybody.
she wanted accountability, and that was in the shape of him being fucking fired. She wanted his livelihood fired, you know, fucking gone from him over a tiny joke.
He made up
I'm not gonna defend the joke that that guy Chris made, but like, was it worth it? Was it worth him being fired over? No, absolutely not.
a weird story, which is very fucking weird. I agree with you. But he's, you know, if accountability is you should lose your job, your livelihood, and everything else, I mean, would you agree that's fairly extreme?
She cannot answer at all. Like Becky would put like the question like in the simplest way ever for her, and she'd be like, I'm not sure. That's what she would fucking repeat to ad nauseum over and over. Even, you know, for two reasons, right? She's half high, I believe, around this time, and you know, also because like the gears in her head are turning so goddamn slowly.
I think like maybe like some sort of statement from him too might have helped. Like, no, I get your point though. Like that this was a thing that happened and this probably damaged some relationships that I was working on.
She says statement, right? But I'm pretty sure like that joke was purely made, you know, between a friend group. That was it. It was sort of fucking like litigated the joke and made it, you know, a public thing, to my knowledge.
At the time. And that kind of sucks, but I see what you mean.
Because I mean, I will say, like, from talking to a few other people who've been going over this, I mean, the Chris stuff is a point that's kind of come up again and again. It's like, you know, I see a lot of stories about people who are like abusers who've like had sexual conversations around and with kids. I think there's a current drama going on over again, some stuff that happened like 5 years ago. And one of the particular people involved in that, you know, he's in trouble now because he's sort of pushing back after sort of acknowledging what he's done to this person. But the kind of prevailing thing is like, well, if you just said, yeah, that was a fuck up, and I was a bit weird, and I'm sorry, no one would care. But with Chris, you've got literally the reverse of that situation where he does admit it's a fuck up, says that he's sorry, and it's like that feels like it's not enough 2 years later. So, yeah, I kind of want to be clear about that because I think that's something that you are going to catch flack for.
No boy. And her fucking response, like a good 5 seconds of nothing at all. Like, bear in mind, right? Like this has been like the softball to the interview, to like the conversation, and even now she has no idea what the fuck to do. I mean, bear in mind, right? I think it's very obvious from the middle part, you know, of this drama after the fallout that she was actually fucking like breaking down mentally. Like, go listen to that voice message from Brony Fandon, and you can tell she's going fucking crazy. She's getting aggressive against everyone. Thankfully, she's not aggressive right now, but like even you can tell, like, you know, she's like, I don't give a shit. I'm fucking tired.
I think it was also that's fair. I think it was also I was frustrated. Like, I think I wanted some accountability. I was frustrated with the responses I was getting, and I was frustrated that no one was like offering to help fix it. It was just more like, you know, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like, I'm accountable.
What does fixing it look like to you?
Fixing it would be him fired, him outcasted, him fucking impaled.
Maybe some kind of public acknowledgement or something, because it had reputation.
I guess I feel like him, you know, apologizing to you, you know, and you having that on video form and it being on YouTube. Would that not be enough?
Damage, but also maybe like actually proving he went to have some sensitivity training or something, and not just saying that.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Sensitivity training for a dumb fucking joke.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I mean, because when I watched through the video, he seems to say in his public statement, yes, this is a thing that happened and I needed to work on and I'm sorry for. I mean, it was, you know, it's a very corporate statement in some regards. I think that's fair, but it's like, publicly, this was acknowledged as a thing that did happen with Chris, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think there is a spiraling element here that.
Oh, I should clarify that it was only acknowledged publicly. I felt he might be a little bit dangerous just because he was kind of lying about those kind of experiences. On top of when I looked into the DA game stuff too, I don't know if you've got in there, but there's a lot of like. Gross behavior there, so it just seemed like these people weren't accountable for themselves as well. So I guess it became a bigger scope to me once
I have no idea what she's talking about, to be honest.
Games was
I'm sorry if I stay quiet for some parts because, bear in mind this drama was a collab with the DA Games allegations, These are trying to, add some credibility, behind the Saberspark stuff as well. Because, she covered DA Games. True.
not really willing to work with me. And then when some of the games victims found me and they were like, oh, this is a pattern because they do this kind of stuff all the time.
With that out of the way, I suppose we should get to the Saberspark allegations themselves. Now, the way I want to break this down is I'm going to explain to you what
the first conversation with KP was a fucking mess. She could not concede to this very tiny thing.
Allegations were and how they were presented.
And bear in mind, it only gets worse from here.
And then I'm going to tell you what happened behind the scenes. And I can do that with receipts because I have everyone's DMs. And yes,
I would
that
say,
includes...
KP has been going fucking insane, right? However, good on her for trying to bury the hatchet and be, trying to mend this. Because she's provided receipts from between her, Emily, and Brony Fandon or Bonk. Well, she has to, right? Because Bonk is in a fucking hospital. Also, as well, I can't believe I actually fucking do this. I have to eat crow. It turns out that the victim, the accuser, was Emily Jones, and fucking Beckett confirmed it with the Dropbox, leaking her name on it. I can't believe it was her. The only evidence we had, for the public that was Emily Jones, Emmy Emu, how you say her name on Twitter. The only evidence we had was a Google Doc, being like, well, if you look at this tweet, he was clearly there with a Saberspark. And it was like the most fucking abstract tweet from 2012, where all it showed was them being in the same convention. That's it. But I guess that fucking guy hit the nail on the head, and he was correct. I have no fucking idea how.
And don'ts, DM.
It does answer my question before of is this victim, reliable? It turns out that Emily Jones, you can't trust her at all. She had various scandals before in the past, and nobody can trust her now. So there we go.
With KP.
Again, there might be a story behind this, what happened in 2012 at the convention, but we have no idea.
Which
I'm not gonna believe him much further because if I can't trust the victim and the platformers, Brony Phantom and KP are fucking insane, then I don't get you litigate this at all, not even a tiny bit.
Make for fairly fascinating reading. So, the allegations against Saberspark were first released on Twitter through Brony Fandon's account. And believe it or not, that fact's going to become quite relevant later on. These allegations would come from an anonymous source, claiming that in 2012 and 2013, though it is worth noting that there would be a later correction that this all occurred in 2012, this individual met up with Saberspark twice, and on both occasions, they engaged in non-consensual sexual activity with him. KP would then present these allegations in her video and follow it up with a conversation between herself and Courtney Pete regarding the nature of consent. As a quick note for those of you unaware of who Courtney Pete is...
I'll skip through it, right? Apparently this person, Courtney, is the sister of Lily Orchards. If that name means anything to you, right? Crazy story. I was looking for much the KP parts. Sorry. But again, please go watch this video by Cope and Sieve, the whole video.
Anybody will ever be able to say
the amount of fucking research put into this is insane.
With 100% certainty that these events did or did not occur. While Saberspark has denied the accusations, this occurred so long ago that the evidence to condemn or vindicate him just doesn't exist. Which is exactly...
Actually, we have one piece of evidence, that being the emails from the hotel back at the convention 10 years ago. I'm not kidding. Go find the anonymous account that Emily Jones used, and that was the only evidence she posted back then. It was fucking nothing,
exactly
dude.
Why accusations like this should never be platformed by a creator. Putting anyone in the position where they have to deal with life-ruining allegations when you have no evidence to support them beyond a single victim testimony is an incredibly callous and fucked up thing to do to somebody. As we dive into the deeper drama surrounding this story, particularly when looking at people like Brony Fandon, that's a theme. Because when it comes to the Black Griffin allegations, vast amounts of the evidence supplied against him is incredibly shaky. And when challenged on this, the defense is the quantity of allegations, regardless of their quality. And to be...
That is true, actually. I think from my videos I covered about Black Griffin, there's two of them about fucking bullshit stuff. if I have to get behind Black Griffin allegations, there's only one and a half. Number one is his public tweets, with his wife Claire when she was younger, and then there's that DeviantArt stuff. But like even then, it wasn't really packed up that much. That's it. Everything else with Destiny and that one girl on Snapchat, yeah, it was fucking nothing, and nothing burger. Okay, so now skipping forward, right? I think this is the next part about how they figured out it was Emily Jones. Because as you can see, right? There you go, the fucking Dropbox that she leaked by accident.
Which is why he is in
I think they also bring on a guy called Leon, what you say his name?
the first. Cool.
And he was like the first guy that Bonk, Rory Fandom, whatever, went to first for the allegations. And he denied it because he was actually fucking smart. He was like, okay, there's no evidence. I'm not gonna fucking risk my career over this at all.
And KP would provide confirmation that it was Emmy. I expect you're also wondering when this information became available to KP herself. And I'll be honest with you, that was also something I was quite curious to know.
So
Yeah, so the guy, so that's Beckett, KP, and then the guy on the right is Leo.
When did you...
A guy that was very quickly off this, because, there was no evidence.
No.
When did I know it was Emmy?
Yes.
At the beginning.
Right, okay. So, from sort of an outside perspective, one of the big...
That's what... I'm not sure if this video got into it, right? But I have no idea why Emily Jones didn't, platform her own story. She stayed anonymous, and she went through Bernie Fandon and KP. I have no idea why. Maybe because her name was Sullied, but regardless, right? I think people would still believe you if your story made sense and you had evidence. The fact that she went, anonymous, despite having her own platform, that part was shaky. It was very bizarre.
Big difficulties, I guess, with this story is you have...
Yeah, but that was bizarre by itself. But as KP, what would you move forward if that was the biggest red flag? This big person staying anonymous.
A reasonably sized creator,
especially as well, right? When they can, if they're famous, right? And they bring up a testimony. Saberspark could remember when it happened and recall who the fuck you are
for this
and potentially leak your name.
Coming out anonymously, with a very long history with this group. I mean, they certainly interacted with Saber and everyone else in around the DA group for a long period of time. I am surprised you didn't look into anything about them or question the fact that they were coming out with this anonymously.
Yeah, that's I think, unfortunately, KP, she's not the best journalist. However, with that said, right, has she done if she did a bit of background search on this Emily Jones person, she would realize, oh wow, she had previous dramas. Unfortunately, we can't trust her entirely as a narrator, I think regardless, of that, I think she would still pushed it because of a hate boner against Saberspark.
It seemed clear she was afraid that she was going to get harassed, and with my interactions with Saber, and other people's interactions with Saber, he'll try to kind of use his platform to I guess kind of shake people a little bit. That's what he tried to do with me, at least. I
have no idea what that means. Shake people.
Mainly,
the guy who makes Guna videos about animation would shake people. Really?
I guess I didn't question that. So I guess suffice to say I was fucking stupid, and this is gonna be another long week. I don't really know what to tell you besides.
This is fucking pathetic, right? She denies her being malicious, and poses the reason that she's being dumb, she's being stupid. She jumped over so many barriers as a journalist that there's no way that she was being dumb. No, she's being malicious. I'm sorry.
Before we move forward, we should probably talk about who exactly Emmy is, as that may shed a little light on why they may wish to remain anonymous. Emmy Jones is best known...
I might skip forward through this, I heard a section. Again, if you want the TLDR, Emmy Jones, Emily Jones, sorry, she's fucking insane. She has different dramas, and, the most notable one, her being, sleeping with the voice actor of Sonic, and that's it. But aside from that, right, she made multiple GoFundMes, I believe, and, she was being crazy, lying multiple times, and overall, having a history of being an unreliable narrator. That's it. Okay, this next part is actually insane. This was when it was revealed that KP, changed some parts. not like small grammar mistakes. No, she changed the way that the word consent was being used to make it sound way worse. Look at this.
Okay, because I'm just, like, even for me, I'm just trying to make sense of who half these people are.
Now, it might be slightly hypocritical for me, of all people, to criticize someone else for becoming too involved in a story.
Like the timeline is right, is that Emily Jones, she came with a statement with to Bonk, Bonk shared it, and then, KP made some alterations, and then Emily, gave the thumbs up. He thought it was better.
There are lines to this. And getting
Which, in my opinion, right, I think KP, made the alteration because, it's not too boring, right? And when you have allegations with nothing else but testimony, you gotta, you have to make sure it hits hard, really hard.
To edit their impact statement is certainly a line. While KP argues this is to clarify...
Also, as well, bear in mind, in her video, I haven't watched it, right? But she made it seem like from the very beginning, she's like, oh, I'm just a humble journalist, I didn't alter this at all. I'm just covering the truth, right? But like now, it's very clear, like no, she made it seem much worse to add more impact to the story.
Gaps. These edits read far more as trying to remove any semblance of doubt and emphasize things like the power imbalance. Making sure a victim's impact statement fits more easily with the arguments you're going to make in your video is certainly highly unethical. Within the
It does well. If you interject the power imbalance argument, you're fucked. I'm sorry. I don't care for that talking point. It's so moronic.
DM logs between KP and
it's like, sorry, it's so overplayed that it means nothing in my mind.
Emmy. KP provides
like, oh my god, Saberspark was over 18 and so was a girl, but no, she was a fan of him. There was a clear power imbalance. Like, no, it wasn't.
Feedback from Courtney Pete. One particular line of interest is, and it sort of kills me that she might be giving any sort of grace to him at the expense of herself, because he considered it implied. And this isn't just a throwaway line, it's intermingled amongst a tirade on how consent works, emphasizing why that line in particular is an issue. It would work, too. Emmy does change her statement because of this feedback. Hey, sorry, I removed the part giving him grace by saying I understand he may have thought consent was implied. Courtney is definitely right. I just know his retort is going to be him believing consent was there. Courtney is right, though. It was never implied, even if I did like him at the time. This is
I think it was more Courtney, which bear in mind is that of the other YouTuber, the sister of Lily Orchard, right? But like even both of them were like, you ought to change this part. It sounds way better, or aka it sounds way worse against Saber.
Evidence that KP and Courtney worked to tailor the victim's statement to make it more damaging.
Exactly.
And the reason this is an issue is because it's not how Emmy necessarily sees the situation. It is KP and Courtney trying to influence Emmy to perceive the situation through their lens. If you care about what victims have to say, and
I can't really say for Courtney, right? Because I don't know her that well. But for KP, absolutely. She saw this right, and she was like, too boring. I'm gonna add some salt. I'm gonna make it more spicy.
This story is full of people who don't care what victims have to say. You should respect those original statements. But as if to perfectly encapsulate my point of how fucking careless everyone here is, I went to check the release statement, and that section about implied consent is still present. I thought I was losing my mind for a second, because I've read these DMs.
I'm guessing by implied consent, right? In the original statement, you made it seem like, oh, I don't blame him for, believing that I was consenting to it. But in the original one, the one that we fucking saw on Twitter, that was the one be like, no, I had no consent.
So I went back to check.
He purely forced consent onto me, because he's a bigger man.
And I'm right. I'm showing you the original statement supplied by Emmy to KP, and I've highlighted the word implied. But if we scroll
I gotta fuck, no.
Way down by Emmy to KP, and I've highlighted the word implied. But
let me check real quick. Fucking reading time. I would blame myself for the interactions for years, only opening up to a few close people, questioning if consent was implied because of my see, she makes it very clear, right? Oh, I was very divided, after years. I'm not sure if I wanted it or if I was making the consent clear or not. Anyway, I digress. Because of my crush and unwillingness and fear to outright try to stop the advances because of how uncomfortable I felt.
But if we scroll,
I understand that there is a possibility that he felt consent was implied because he knew I had a crush on him. However, he now wants to ask me for consent directly and was instead thrown to these sexual encounters, usually very subtly. There we go.
All the way down.
Now that sounds way more reasonable, but that's nothing that we got.
Down to her updated statement, and I cannot fucking believe this. It's gone. Emmy did make this edit, but KP is paying so little attention, she didn't even include it in the final document for release. No wonder those involved in this didn't care about the fact that Emmy has no evidence for the allegations she's making. They don't even care about her actual testimony. And don't worry, because this situation somehow becomes more absurd. Because you'll remember...
That's so fun. Again, I can't say for like fucking Courtney, I have no idea about her, but for KP, holy shit, you know, she wanted this to be as spicy as possible.
Lyo advised KP that this was a matter for...
I get you. If you want to see like, you know, how malicious people are, right? Like just look at the arsenal and, you know, like see how far they're willing to go. Like she was willing to like tear down Saberspark from one single testimony that was unverified.
The authorities, and they would require at the very least a police statement to be filed if they were planning to run this story.
One of the things that got sort of mentioned was Lyo's involvement.
I think this is about like, you know, the second to last interview with her.
And I was interested in how far that involvement kind of went. I mean, maybe you can speak to that. It doesn't seem like Lyo is, from what I have seen, that involved. He doesn't seem to have seen.
I would have killed, you know, for this guy Lyo, is how you say his name, to cover this, right? Because he's actually smart. He literally said, "Okay, if you don't have a police report, I'm not touching your shit with a 10-foot-long pole," because he realized, you know, if it's not verified, then it's a nothing burger. It's not that serious. But KP, everybody else, you know, they took it in immediately.
Video before it came out. I think Lyo said to me when asked about this particular statement and this victim, his advice was, "Don't run this." That seems to have been his involvement. And go to the police about stuff. Is that unfair?
I don't remember the "don't run this," but yeah, we did have an extensive conversation where...
If that's actually true, right, that Leo, you know, warned her and she ignored it, fucking idiot, dude.
We recommended that she go to the police and get a police report first.
Again, you know, like, just, guys, remember, you know, don't fucking trust YouTubers as, like, you know, good credible journalists, right? Because, like, they will ignore fucking logic. Oh, no police report? No worries, you know, I'll take a testimony. I'll take an unverified testimony as the main core of evidence in these insane allegations.
First,
to deplatform a fucking huge channel like Saberspark.
The "don't run this" was when I told you shouldn't put this in a video.
Okay.
Because the police report wasn't filed. That's what he's referring to.
Okay, well that's why we released it on Twitter first, to kind of have it
Well, I don't know if that helps, because that, if anything,
you know,
makes
for
it...
some reason it being on Twitter, you know, and having Brownie Fandom posted, as if that would help at all.
worse, KP, because it looks like you've...
And like, bear in mind, right, she made a video with DA Games and Saberspark literally when we had no evidence at all. At most, we had those emails, you know, from the hotel, like convention. That's it. Nothing else.
Oh, we don't have a police report.
And bro, she had a line of contact with Emily Jones, but even then, literally no effort to get anything else at all.
But if this is gaining traction on Twitter, then I can put it in a video you are already making with a victim you are already speaking to.
Oh, this is so hard. If only I could make base allegations, you know, against another creator and tear them down.
I don't really have a response to that.
Okay.
She has no... Bear in mind, right, these allegations started, you know, like beginning of this month, you know, about 20 days ago, or 24, sorry. And even now, like, she had multiple days to think about this, and she's even still like, I have no idea why I did this. Really? Like, she felt like, you know, 1% away from being like, okay, I'll admit it, I fucking hate Saberspark. If she said that, I'll respect, you know, for being honest.
Like, so what I'm running up against here is there are going to be multiple sort of views on this video, from everything from stupidity to malice. I don't know where I sit with that at the moment, I'll be honest. Because
I think she's stupidly malicious, sorry.
Because, you know, I know you by your own admission do not
if
like this.
If you don't be malicious, you know, do the smart way so you don't get exposed. But she did the opposite of that, you know, with the dumbest fucking tactics ever.
You have a history with them. You were handed stuff that was you couldn't substantiate from years ago, and you know, you use that to make essentially rape by coercion argument against somebody without even speaking to Saber about it. I mean, it's pretty fucking wild, frankly.
No, I get it.
fine. She gets, after 20 fucking days, okay, fine, you know what? I think what I did was wrong.
No, I was just stupid and I wanted to. She came to me. She, Bonk already knew I was making this video. It just seemed like another victim testimony to add, like the Dia Games one.
Unsurprisingly, when we're dealing with a community
I think we're done now, actually.
that just repeats things they've heard over and over again until they somehow become true, even when it is, once again, life-ruining accusations, KP and others, and we're about to get to those people, worked on the assumption that once this was out on Twitter, coverage of it was fair game. But to be clear, in the DMs, KP is scheduling this with Brony Fandon't, and the statement itself.
Oh, that's well. Okay, I'll pull back from KP and Bonk, right? Because that character, Emily Jones, you have to criticize her as well. She's fucking insane.
Even goes out early and has to be removed. Despite how fucked up all of this is,
I have no idea about her drama, so I can't really comment on that, but this part was insane.
Incompetence is unironically just fucking hilarious. Predictably, once the video had been released and the backlash was in, these little rats started fleeing the sinking ship. Fandon't's DMs here are pretty interesting, but we'll get to his section in a little bit. However, one thing I want to point out is this tweet from May 5th, where Fandon't says, I talked with her in call about the problems. She told me she was surprised by the reactions because her team and the victim viewed it prior and liked it. I did not realize at the time.
Yeah, that's what, apparently, allegedly, reportedly, Emily Jones liked it. She saw a goal of a video and she was like, yeah, I have no qualms with my allegations being platformed like that fucking awful video. Holy shit. I can't say if, she's malicious because I barely know her and we barely, as a victim for this, we barely heard from her at all. She's still being, held anonymous. I mean, now we know for sure with Beckett, clarifying that was Emily Jones, but fucking KP, I think she admitted to it, but the main platformer, Brony Fandon't, has made no comment about it at all. Fuck me. Now, I finished the video real quick with the last interview they had, for this. And holy shit, I think she's still, half high, on fucking weed. But even now, I feel bad for her because she seems actually broken.
So it doesn't come as a surprise to me that when I came back, turning up to our first conversation kind of baked. So it doesn't come as a surprise to me that when I came back to her to ask about Chris, she'd ask me this.
Are you cool with me coming to process to you, in general? I don't know. It just.
I have no idea if it's the second or the first interview they had, but already she's so broken out. She's like, Beckett, this guy I only knew for a couple of interviews. Can I please process to you?
I don't want to look.
This random fucking guy that she met on Discord or that was reached out to him or sorry by him.
Trigger me and then lie.
Who also made it very clear that he was making a video on her.
I won't tell me anything because he's afraid he's gonna trigger me.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean. Again, I want to be clear that I am making a video on you. So I think there's that separation. I'm no one's therapist. For those of you look.
There we go. Holy shit. My God. Again, I'm gonna ask myself, did I learn more about fucking KP from this video? I think I did. And unfortunately, it's still very pathetic. Holy shit, right? So she gets caught. She makes a fucking huge blunder over that video of his allegations. She rats out pathetically, and then when she gets confronted by it, by Cope and Steve, by Beckett, he just concedes very, very pathetically to everything. My God, I feel bad for. No, sorry, I take that back. I don't feel bad for her. The most I can sympathize for is that her channel, her credibility, is fucking gone now. If she makes more allegations, like this, or platforms them, no one's gonna listen to them, because she fucked up this very minor one to a huge degree. So yeah, that's really all I have to say for KP. I love KimPossibleALot. My God. I have no idea how she got this big, to be have a 250,000 subs, but she's not that funny, and also furthermore, as evident for this drama, she's not very smart at all by any fucking means. My God. Okay, I'll end the video now by giving a quick shout out again. A shout out, he's fucking bigger than me. But yeah, I want to give thanks to Cope and Steve because this fucking video was insane. He spent, about 20 days or fucking much longer on this video breaking down the entire thing. If you want to know the full story, of these fucking people and the crusade against Black Griffin and Saberspark, go watch this shit, right? But for me mainly, I want you to see the interview with KP, which, by the way, fucking was satisfied me because they were so pathetic. My God. In your own time, go watch, by itself because it's insane. Holy shit.